Hello, and welcome to another episode of Part in the Dust, Dusting Off Construction with Caitlin and Jillian. We're your hosts, Caitlin
And Jillian.
and we're here dusting off the upcoming contest that Idencia is hosting called the Precast ScrapDown Challenge. We're here today with Idencia CEO Jeff Pollock and Christina Trexler, who is the VP of Workforce Innovation for NPCA headquarters and the Executive Director of the NPCA Foundation. So, ladies first, Christina, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Christina. As you said, I'm Vice President of Workforce Innovation and Executive Director of the NPCA Foundation, and I have been in this role since March 2024.
Nice. Nice and fresh.
Yeah.
And then, Jeff, do you mind introducing yourself?
Not at all. Happy to do it. I am Jeff Pollock. I'm CEO of Idencia, and I also serve on the board of the NPCA Foundation.
Very cool. So, firstly, my very first question, the one that probably most people are trying to figure out, what is the Precast ScrapDown Challenge? So, Jeff, could you please let everybody know what the ScrapDown Challenge is?
Absolutely. So it is a contest among the precast producer community to see who can be the most efficient during the first quarter of 2025 in reducing the amount of scrap that they produce.
Nice.
I think you want me to get into a little bit of the why, or will that you cover that later?
Well, the next question was, why did Idencia want to do something like this? So, let's get right into that.
Okay. Well, as a member of the NPCA Foundation board, I'm very familiar with the excellent work that the foundation, led by Christina, is doing in supporting the precast industry by working with schools and universities to attract more talent into the precast industry, also by providing scholarships. So as we have interacted with the precast community over the last couple of years, the biggest challenge facing the community, the industry, is access to skilled talent. So we wanted to do something to support that, but also hopefully do a little bit more. So the purpose of the ScrapDown Challenge is really threefold. One is to raise money for the foundation to support its continuing good work. Two is to raise public awareness of the efficiency of the precast industry, so that obviously that's good for growth and it's good for attracting talent into the industry. And then thirdly, we wanted to give the industry a fun, spirited competition that would be a bit of a perk to their labor teams by competing with one another to see who can be the most efficient. And of course, that is good for the participants in the contest in and of itself. So those are really the three reasons why we wanted to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to jump over to Christina, because I know when we talked about this with you originally, you were super excited about this idea. So do you want to elaborate on how excited you were to hear about this concept of a contest for the industry?
Absolutely. So, having only been in this role since March, kind of gave me a lot of permission to be creative and really look at what it is we were doing and what ideas we could do to enhance the good work that was already being done. And so I've really been focused on that. Like, where do we want to go and how do we get there? And one of those ways is really member engagement. Getting more members familiar with the foundation, the activities of the foundation, the goals of the foundation, but also wanting to hear members' idea that, this foundation is the members' foundation. And so what are those ideas that the members have that we can do in the foundation to further those goals? And so what was super exciting to me is that this idea came from a member to involve members in participating in growing the awareness of the foundation, which is one of, a large goal. So that's what made me most excited about it.
Yeah, it was very fun when we kind of like started stumbling upon like how it's all gonna connect, because we thought this would be a really fun way to connect with industry members and give them opportunity to do something fun that's different, that can also, as Jeff had mentioned, unite their workforce and provide more incentives in order to, come across or come together with a common goal of reducing scraps and, trying to be the best that you can and seeing how you compete against everybody else in the industry. Um, but also just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on the NPCA Foundation, I think Jeff mentioned a little bit about what the NPCA Foundation is. But can you elaborate any more on what the NPCA Foundation is, when it was created, and some of like the biggest things or like your favorite things that the foundation has done? I know you're newer to the position, but I'm sure you know some things that are very cool that you guys have done in the past.
So I think the overarching goal really is increasing awareness of the industry and engaging younger students, who are going to be our future leaders of the industry. And so, how do we how do we get access to the younger generation? And primarily, the foundation has focused on college kids, and I think one of my big goals is going into the high schools. We need to go younger, because
Yeah.
I think not all students want to go to college, and we're seeing that become a bigger trend. And so I think really starting to pay more attention to the high school level. How do we get those kids interested in a career that is a good career to be in, right? It's a sustainable career. It's a secure career.
Yeah.
And so getting them interested in what we're doing, right? And so that's a huge goal. Primarily, like I said, we've been focusing on college kids. And we have the student competition, which is currently underway. The three finalists of the student competition will present their projects during the Precast Show 2025, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana, on February. And then that winner, they get prize money, but they also get to be introduced and connected to all of our members. So it's a great opportunity for students. But my question was, back when I started, is that's great, but how do we reach beyond just that population, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do we get deeper? So, but then I also started to realize a lot of our members don't know, they weren't very familiar with what the foundation does. So that means, how do I also reach more members and getting them to be a part of the foundation, even if they're not on the board, right? Like,
Right.
this is the members foundation. So how do I get them more involved? And I think this is a great way of getting involved, is coming up with an idea that fits your company in your community with your people, right? Like,
Yeah,
that
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
so that's so yeah, primarily the foundation has focused on, colleges and increasing awareness there. I have been most people who have interacted with me know that I always will ask this one question: how big can we go, and how fast can we get there? Um, that's kind of my motto. I like to learn fast, grow fast, fail fast, learn fast.
That's awesome. And do you have any, so you're in colleges, that's fantastic, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second, but do you have any examples of how you've been able to get into high schools recently, or any success cases so far?
Not yet. However, for the first time, I did just have a professor ask about having a precast class in a high school.
That's
So
awesome.
So cool. It's kind of like a
again,
woodworking class, but for a precast, which
exactly.
is
Yeah,
super
super
cool.
cool.
Right. And so I think, in the coming months, headquarters here. So this is where my role, the duality of it, comes into play. I mean, how do we start shifting that focus to the younger generations? Because we need to be there, right? And
Yeah.
and what can headquarters put into place to help facilitate those conversations with members. Because at the end of the day, I can't walk into every high school in the country. I'm one human being, right? Like
Right.
that's literally not possible. So it comes back to the members, right? And the members have to be involved in their community. And when they see an idea, hey, you don't have to have the answer, right? You can call me and say, here's an idea. Can we partner together on a solution? Absolutely. Like that's what I'm here to do, right? Is to help people. So that's I don't have a success story yet. Hopefully, if we have this conversation a year from now, I will. But it's definitely a need.
It definitely is going to take a little bit of time and effort. So obviously, you've already mentioned a free line to call Christina anytime with ideas. And we have Jeff, who's joined the board. Are there other ways for people to get involved with the NPCA Foundation? Maybe a quick phone call isn't enough, but involvement on the board is a too heavy of a lift. What can others do?
Yeah, so I have to give props to NPCA's recent chairman, Bill Bunchu. He decided he wanted to host a fundraising challenge of the members. That was his idea. He came to me and said, hey, what do we do? Right? I want to raise some money. So Christy Denault and I got together and we were like, and we put it together for him. He came to us with an idea. We executed it. Right. So obviously, all of these activities, the scholarships that we provide, the prize money and all the money that we provide to the students who come to the TPS, and all of these different things take money. And so we have 2 annual fundraisers, a golf outing and a silent auction, but it's going to take more than that. And I think that the more that members get involved through being a mentor, I started a mentoring program for college students. So getting involved as a mentor, getting involved by hosting community events and raising awareness of the foundation, I think that people will start to see that this actually is their foundation. So they will want to participate, but also help financially support those goals. And so I'm hoping that through this ScrapDown challenge that, is led by a member, I hope other people see it as also a call to action. Create your own challenges, right? Because that's a way of getting involved in the foundation, but also getting involved in your community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've only briefly kind of talked about the ScrapDown challenge because we want to jump right into NPCA Foundation because you guys do such cool things. But I want to bring back Jeff, and I would like to ask Jeff a few more questions about the ScrapDown challenge. And so my next question is, what can precasters expect when they start participating? Like what are they doing here?
Well, I'd be glad to answer that question, but like a politician debating, I'm going to go back to something that Christina said, and then I'll come back. Except
Absolutely.
the difference here is I'll come back to your real question and ask and answer. I just want to point out that with respect to what Jillian's former question earlier about how can more people get involved, and Christina's answer, Christina touched on one of the things that is my hope that the ScrapDown Challenge can be a model for members that want to do something to help the foundation in a way that's outside of what we've done historically. And as Christina mentioned, the foundation has at the Precast show, we have the silent auction, and at the convention, we have the golf outing. And those are our primary fundraisers. So I love the fact that this can be a model for sort of spontaneous action that can help the foundation and the whole community. But the key to it is the posture that Christina just mentioned of we want to invite new ideas and do different things. Because as an organization, if they didn't have that posture, then no one would have any initiative to do that. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the precast community, because it's a very tight community. It's a collegial community. People know and like one another, and I think they're happy to work together to help the industry as a whole. So at the end of the day, I really think it's of great credit to Christina and the foundation, her work in the foundation for being open. And as she said, let's try new things. If we fail, we fail. We could also succeed quickly. So that's what I wanted to say. But you asked, Caitlin, tell me if I'm wrong, about what's in it for precasters, or
I wanted to know
perhaps.
what precasters can expect when participating. So
Okay,
in the sense of like, what are they doing?
yeah,
What is
okay,
the challenge?
sure. Well, the challenge is to reduce the volume of concrete that is scrapped relative to the amount that you pour, the so-called scrap rate. And we're doing it for 3 months. We're giving everybody access to an element of our new one source system that is available for tracking scrap. Although our system historically worked with tagging products, that will not be required this time. And it'll be very simple to participate. When you have scrap, you log it in the system, and if you repair it, then you log that. If you don't, you log that. The only other thing that you need to do is at least once a week, log the volume of concrete you poured that week. If you want to do it daily, you can. If you want to do it weekly, you can. And that's it. So we've been very purposeful about making it as easy as possible. And then at the end, there will be 2 prizes given. One will be for the lowest overall scrap rate. And then the second one will be for the most improved scrap rate from the beginning of the contest to the.
Nice. And it sounds like it won't take like a lot of time off of producers' hands when they're actually recording this information. It sounds like it's pretty simple and would only take minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we knew that we had to do that because people are not going to want to disrupt their operations in order to be able to do something like this.
Right.
So to record the scrap takes maybe a minute or 2 tops. And of course, if you're doing really well, you won't have many to log. So
Very true.
that's a plus.
Ideally, you're only logging 0 a week.
Right, exactly.
Nice. So you said that there's 2 grand prizes. That's awesome because that means double the opportunity for 2 participants to win. It kind of gives you a 50-50, maybe not a 50-50 chance. I'm not good at math, but it's okay. But if you're one of the lucky winners, what do they get to win?
So we're asking every participant to contribute $1,000. 500 of that will go directly to the foundation as a donation to the NPCA Foundation. The other 500 will go into a prize pool, and that prize pool will then be split in 2 to award the final to award those 2 prizes. So all the money coming in will either go out to the prize pool or into the foundation.
It also sounds like, while thinking about the 2 grand prize like options, that technically one person could win both. Because if you just already have a fantastic scrap rate and then you also significantly improve your scrap rate throughout the contest, in theory, you could be the ultimate grand prize winner.
That's true, and you're really, really good if you are.
Everybody's really looking at you for the rest of the year.
And by the way, I think that should be celebrated if that's the case.
Absolutely.
People that are that efficient should have the opportunity to let the world know that. And actually, that's kind of one of the things that we wanted to have come out of this, is to celebrate publicly not only the winners, which obviously deserve great celebration, but anybody who's participating. Because if you're participating, it shows that you're serious as a producer about being as productive as you possibly can. And if you're a prospective customer of that producer, that's very important to you, because the more efficient you are, the lower your prices are going to be with good quality product. So we intend to make a lot of positive noise about the people that are participating, and obviously the winners as well. That said, we will divulge no individual information about performance in terms of proprietary information that people would not want public.
Right.
That's great. So, Jeff, you've spoken a lot about the best of the best who are joining this competition. It might sound a little intimidating for those listening. So, who is best suited to join the challenge? Is it the people with low scrap rates already, or the people who want to improve?
I would say mainly anybody that wants to improve. If you have a really good low scrap rate already and you want to take the chance to, tell the world about it, that's wonderful. But our experience is, as we talk to people, everybody has a certain amount of scrap. The last NPCA benchmarking report, which I think just came out, indicated that the average precast plant does about $12 million of volume a year, and they have an average scrap rate of 1%. So that's $120,000 that's just gone. So if you can reduce that by, a quarter or half, that's very significant. And without going on too long, I'll also add that as with any problem, the first way to address it, and usually that which provides the most incremental gain, is by paying attention to that problem. You pay attention to the problem, then you're going to minimize that problem by default. So this is an opportunity for people to do that, whether you have a low scrap rate already or you want to improve.
Yeah. So, circling back around, Christina, I want to bring you in on this question. We've talked a lot about how this is going to be a great fundraiser for the foundation board, or the NPCA Foundation, as well as being great for the participants to really reduce their scrap and regain some of the revenue back into actual profit. What are your end goals for this challenge, though, beyond those two things? What would you like to see as an ultimate end result?
I mean, I have to come back to awareness, right? I think it's awareness of the foundation, awareness of member participation in all kinds of activities. The more that we can increase awareness, it'll grow outside of the industry. Or, I think we've done a good job of talking to each other, but how we can get the message outside of the membership bubble, right? The better,
Yeah.
and so that's a huge goal.
And Jeff, I'm gonna ask you the same question. What would you like to see as an end result for this challenge?
Well, I would echo what Christina said. I mean, I think if we can, as I kind of mentioned before, if we could be a model for sort of a flash mob approach to fundraising in a different way that brings more attention to the foundation because it's different, that's a big plus. The other, I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Christina?
I agree completely.
Yeah. And, the other thing is, I really think that the more of public awareness we can bring to the advantages of the precast industry to construction, great, because then there's going to be more demand for it. And showing that the industry is happy to compete against, to be the most productive, I think is a really powerful statement there.
Yeah.
So, and then thirdly, if that attention also helps bring more attention from prospective employees, that's a real positive too.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing how this all pans out. I know there's already interested companies that have committed to signing up and being part of this challenge. So, Jeff, do you want to kind of just share some of the currently enrolled companies for this challenge?
Sure. We have Shea Concrete is going to be participating. Gainey's Concrete is going to be participating. Gillespie Precast is going to be participating, and S&M Precast in Indiana is those four have all signed up. but we have interest from others like Lock Solutions and Lee's Precast. Really, these are the leading precasters that are very, very active as leaders in the NPCA. And so I'm very grateful to them for stepping up, and those that have committed certainly, and those that are considering it. Really appreciate that, because I think it's a great chance to do everything that we've talked about, and really doesn't take much from the precaster, and hopefully there's something in it for them too. So
Yeah. And so if I was an interested precaster, I'm clearly not a precaster, and that's a-okay. But if I were, how would I go about joining or signing up or getting more information about this Precast ScrapDown?
well, if you go to our Idencia website, www.idencia.com, IDEN as in Nancy, CIA, there is a tab called the Precast ScrapDown Challenge, and that gives all the information. It also gives you an opportunity to sign up for our webinars. We're having webinars. We're having one tomorrow, actually, which will be after this. Before this is
Yes, before this, it will be completed. The
Right,
recording will
right.
be available by the time that this episode is actually out to the public.
That's right. Yes. Then that's just explaining how it all works.
So good for everybody listening now. You don't have to wait for the webinar, because the webinar will be done and you can watch it and get all the information that you need.
Sure.
Great.
How long do people have to sign up, Jeff?
That's probably a better question for Caitlin.
I believe the date I have is December 20th of 2024, so that you have enough time to actually get all signed up and ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. And that was part of our plan too. We know that this is different, and people are not just going to want to jump to something right away. So we decided to develop the idea. It was back in September, and I presented it at the foundation board meeting at the convention. And now we're having our informational webinars, and we'll have another webinar for the producers that commit to explain and get them all set up. So by taking our time to roll it out, and then having the contest go from the beginning of January 2025 through the end of March, it gives everybody a chance to acclimate, get and understand, and then hit the ground running in the first quarter of next year.
Absolutely. I know I'm tapped out for questions. I don't know if Jillian's tapped out.
I think I am tapped out.
Jillian's also tapped out. So I'm going to now open the floor. Oh, again, ladies first. Christina, is there anything else that you'd like to share with listeners today?
Just that I think that, quite honestly, if you're a producer, I think you should participate in this competition, because you are a member of an association that is really tight knit, and being involved with your fellow members is a great way to just keep building those connections and that relationship and the strength of the association. But it also has a ripple effect of educating not only your community, but the larger community and the younger kids that are not in the community, right? But we want them to be. They're going to see this as something exciting and want to be a part of it. So if you're not involved in this competition, please sign up and get involved.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing how many producers was the word I'm looking for, participate. I think it's going to be a really great bonding experience, even though they're, operating on their own, but being able to then see what like the total results are at the end is going to be a really fun and interesting reveal. And Jeff, I'm gonna also thank you and say, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Yeah, there is. I first of all, I want to thank Christina and everybody at NPCA and working for the foundation for their help with this. It's really, really wonderful how well this has been received. And thank you, Christina, for closing with that statement. That's beautiful. I also, my, if you will, closing statement would be, I would like to encourage all producers to get more involved with the foundation. With Christina coming in, it's always been good, but having having a front row seat to what's going on in my service as a board member, I can tell that things are opening up as she's described here today. And that means that there's going to be a lot of good things that'll come out of it. And I think it's no secret that the work that the foundation is doing to support the industry, particularly in terms of helping to do what it can to create more talented labor coming into the industry, is going to be the most important thing that the industry can benefit from in the coming years, given our labor shortage. So I'd like to thank Christina and Andy Pierce, her staff, and everybody else that's been working on this for what they're doing, and encourage everybody to check out the foundation and do what you can to work together.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I got to thank you for your leadership in coming up with this idea, and all the support for the foundation that you've shown since I've been on board. It's greatly appreciated.
A pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And I know both Jillian and I would like to thank you both for being here today and speaking with us about the Precast ScrapDown Challenge and the NPCA Foundation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you both. You're doing a great job. Keep
Thank
up the
you.
great work. Thank you.
And just to wrap up, thank you, listeners, for your time today. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast to get notified when our latest episode releases. Definitely check out the Precast ScrapDown website to learn more about the contest and challenge. I'll have that linked in the description. And of course, also look at the NPCA Foundation and see what else you can do to get involved and help out. I'll also drop a link in the description for that as well. And if you've listened to a few episodes and have enjoyed them, I hope you have, please be sure to rate us or leave us a comment. Definitely subscribe. I probably already mentioned that, but let us know what you want to hear about or what we can improve. And if you like the content, please give us a share. Sharing is caring, and we make this content for you in the industry. So with that, we'll catch you next time.